The Aboriginal group called the Yolngu have lived up here on the coast of East Arnhem Land for 50 to 60,000 years, if not longer. They've lived on this land since before the pyramids were built, before the Ice Age ended. While empires rose and fell all around the world, the Yolngu were passing on their culture from one generation to another. Literally thousands of generations over the millennia, ensuring the continuation of their knowledge of the land and the people that lived on it. The Yolngu of today embody every fiber of that legacy, while at the same time moving those traditions into a new era, embracing modern techniques to buttress the ancient ones, all with one simple goal in mind: to pass their knowledge on to the thousands of generations yet to come. I'm Ian Grant, and I've spent the last 3 decades using my background in history and art history, exploring cultures all around the world. In this series, I'll take you to places I've never been to before. Experiencing local life through the lens of the world's artists, artisans, and keepers of culture. This is Culture Quest.
Gustavus Adolphus College equips students to lead purposeful lives and act on the great challenges of our time. Gustavus, make your life count.
Over 1 billion people live with preventable blindness.
SEE International partners with volunteer doctors to provide sight-restoring surgeries in underserved communities around the world.
This organization is united in one mission: to restore sight to the blind.
They purify the air I breathe and the water I drink, keep me and the planet cool, and give me a career I love. Trees, when we take care of them, they take care of us.
We all seek different in our own ways, because different reflects who you are, who you want to be. The Northern Territory, different in every sense.
We're just pulling into Yirrkala. It's right on the coast, and it's out of this little hub that incredible works of art are going out around the world. And this unassuming building in the middle of Yirrkala is the center of it all, the Buku Larangai Art Center, a community-owned organization that collects and sells the art of the Yolngu people. And this is Will Stubbs. He's the manager of the art center here. He quit his job as a criminal attorney in the 90s and, as he says, burned his suit and moved to Yirrkala. He was hired by the Yolngu to manage the art center with a straightforward mandate from the community to balance cultural imperatives with market demand, or as Will says, to act as a bridge between the Yolngu and the Western art world. He's now been managing the art center and living here for well over 20 years.
I guess the starting point is to try and recalibrate, because the whole idea of art as art in the Western sense is foreign here. If you look at a piece like this, that's language. If you were to bring a knowledgeable person in here and show them that design, they would sing you 330 stanza songs. We're very text-based, before videos and film and photography, everything had to be written down. The only, the way that we've embraced to transfer knowledge is through writing.
Yeah.
And Yolngu don't do that. Each one of these paintings relates to a different estate, which has a different set of epic song poetry directly tied to it, that's in the minds of the people that you're going to meet. This is one particular little bit of sea. So if you're standing down in Blue Mud Bay at a place called Yirrkala and you're looking out to the sea, that little section of sea is this design. And so there's epic song poetry as big as the Iliad or the Odyssey, just relating to the events that shaped and formed the identity and essence of that land.
Of that spot, yeah. Okay.
And so The next bay has got a different pattern. It's got a different set of songs.
Right.
And it's got a different set of custodians, a different set of people who look after it.
The patterns refer to the history, the local knowledge, the thousands of years of understanding about each specific place represented in the work. Only artists from those specific areas are allowed to paint those designs.
The one thing that can't happen is an interference with the way that the matrix of how these designs are put together. They can't be taken by someone else, they can't be painted without authority. And he follows, as everything else in here does, follows the edict that you must use the land to paint the land as well. So this is a piece of stringy bark, and this is all ochre's earth pigments. This is rocks.
The bark they harvest from the forest, the termite-hollowed trees they paint on, all of the natural pigments for the paint they use, it all needs to come from the land. Even if it's a more modern twist like using metal, that metal still needs to be salvaged from the land they are painting.
If I said to you, okay, no books, no videos, no diaries, no nothing, everything that you know or have learned is going to go with you when you die. You go, okay, yeah, all right. In a couple of weeks' time, you're going to wake up in the middle of the night going, I need to find some young people.
Yeah.
I need to put what's in my head into their head. And this is the process. This is deep in the heart of Yolngu culture. This is why people are creating all the time, because they have to renew and refresh and reinvigorate and directly transfer that spirit and that feeling directly to a human.
So these are they're termite hollowed out
Yes.
tree trunks.
Yes.
Out of eucalyptus?
Yes. This form is a latticus. So given the circular nature of the spirit's journey, so we're only in this body for a little bit, and then through the loss of that body, there are really complicated procedures got to be followed, including the spiritually hygienic disposal of the body. And in the course of that, you're left with some period later on, the bones, which still have to be treated with reverence, and they will be put into a new skin like this, and then all of that will return to the land from which it originated. The spirit's long gone, it's back into the water of this particular design through ceremony, and it's possibly already come again in the form of another child.
And if I understand it correctly, the design applies to the person's bones or whatever the term is that's inside the latticus.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's not just a...
This is another little bit of sea called Garapra, belonging to the Tarong clan of the Irita moiety. You know, you could go there, you could look at it, you would... A young person would see this pattern etched into every atom.
And it actually has sand on it. And
that's right.
And is that this artist's own...
Artistic innovation.
Yeah,
yes,
which is really cool.
So it's within this discipline, but it's untold creativity allowed within the observance.
Didgeridoos, they're from up here specifically, right?
Yeah.
But are they originally called didgeridoos, or it's something else, right?
Yeah. Here they're called Yirrkala, and basically the form of this instrument, which has a large bell on the bottom, coming up, tapering up to a narrow mouthpiece, is specific to the trees around here. And originally pre-colonial times, the ceremonial practice of using this as an instrument was restricted to the area where termites were so active that these were prevalent. And so across the top end of the country, the size and nature of the chamber is different in each case. So it generates a different sound, it's in a different key, it's got different high notes, and there's this huge back catalogue of song. You know, if you think opera or classical music, and specific melodies that go with each song that young people are trained in. So it's not generic music. When you want to play Yirrkala, they're playing a particular song out of a repertoire that's ancient.
So much in the same way of
That's right.
the paintings.
That's right. What you're seeing here is amazing, but this is a tiny little, this is the surface shell of this massive unseen body of knowledge that basically governs everyone's behaviour around here. I mean, there's all sorts of outside influences and distractions, but the way people process all of that is always done with reference to this huge body of knowledge.
Do the artists bring pieces to you and then you...
Well, we are owned by the artist, so
okay.
I work for the artist.
Yeah.
It's an artist collective. It's been going since 1975.
Okay, so it's a
we pay the artists up front.
Ah, so they bring in a piece and
all
they
you
get
see
paid
here
for
has already been paid for.
So the artists... Oh, that's a great way of doing it.
It's their business, so that's the way they like it.
Will had us walk a few hundred yards down the road from the art center to visit one of the more prolific Yolngu artists, Barayuwa Munungurr, who was working on a new bark painting.
Yeah, this painting belonged to my mother's, so I can take over this painting.
You mean to like take over the style and the place?
Yeah.
Right. Because that is like you pass it from one generation to the next generation.
Part of song lines, and we dance it patterns, and they will connect it with their families members.
So you can dance this pattern as well?
Yep.
Can you play this as well on the Yirrkala?
Yep, we do.
Wow. Yeah. So all of that out of this.
Yeah, out of this patterns.
Do you go to the art center to get the bark, or do you get the bark yourself?
No, I get myself.
Oh, you do. So you go into the woods. Yeah. Oh, so you do it from start to finish.
Yep.
The whole thing. And do you make your own paint?
Yep, I do make the reds, yellow, and the black.
And the black. Okay.
So we get it from front of the beach.
Oh.
Yeah, we just go down.
Just go that way.
Yeah.
The tide goes out.
Yeah, and then we'd find the rocks.
The Yolngu get their colors from all variety of natural materials. In Barayuwa's case here, from rocks. And is that, I saw you when we were coming in, you make a little slurry, if you can see this over here. Do you put this down first?
Yep, water first. And then mix it up with the clay. And then and then you grind in the color. So you have everything you need right here to do this. Yep.
Barayuwa's work is finding its way to galleries and museums all across Australia and around the world, including the piece we saw him working on at his house. This is Arian Pearson. He plays a major role in the art center that we'll dive into later. But for this evening, he's taken us out on a nighttime crayfish hunt. Arian was a longtime ranger up here in the Northern Territory, so we're in more than capable hands. And we're also picking up our new friend Barayuwa. How you doing, man? Who, besides being an incredible artist, he's also known as one of the area's best hunters. After a 30-minute winding drive through the forest, we're there.
Okay. Yeah.
Is it low tide or on its way out?
It's still going out, so it's good, perfect for crayfish.
And we're the only ones here. And so I gotta ask you this, because it's nighttime, we're in the ocean, and there's saltwater crocodiles around. Now you were a ranger for 8 years, I get it, you're cool with it.
There are crocodiles around, but we just try to keep our eyes out.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just shine the light up like this, make sure if you see any eyes looking at you that...
Everything's pitch black except for the stars and these big flashlights. I'm just looking around for crayfish. Hey, so Barayuwa just got one. You can kind of see it. Yeah.
So they're
oh, that's awesome.
Painted crayfish.
Those are pretty.
Yeah, and they're tasty too.
Yeah, well done.
We need to get some more. Come here. You get close up. Don't get too close. These can kill.
Seriously?
Yes. But it injects a venom, so it's like a dart. It gets injected into you.
Oh my God, man!
And it's a neurotoxin, so it actually shuts down your organs. One of the many things that can kill you in the Northern Territory.
They just got another, and you can really feel the sort of hunt is definitely on. They're way out ahead, just tracking everything, moving fast. It's actually pretty cool. Here we are standing in pitch black, waves rolling in on both sides, saltwater crocodiles stalking us, little shells that want to kill us. It's a living hell out here. Did you get another one? How many?
3.
Oh, some fish too.
Some fish?
Nice one.
Dang. Nice. I want to get a fist bump out of that. That's nice. Hell yeah, that was great. Well done.
You never know, like,
no.
There's a lot of nasty things come out at night time with the...
Yeah.
The crocodiles are out at night.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's best to stay away from the water, like, at night time. So,
oh, okay. Yeah. All right. You've been a ranger for 8 years, man. I think, I don't know who I'd be safer with. Pretty good hunt, huh?
It's not bad for, I think, an hour. How long we've been out? 1 hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way to go, team.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything, but still, I feel good. I feel good.
Ko markup me, main mak ko lapit ya nero. Ko to na ngaya ko ian barkongo. Yo. This is Mulka Project. She's a senior artist, senior ceremonial woman, member of the Turijapu clan of the Toa Moieti. But she's not painting something sacred, so not everything is sacred. What she's painting is a foodstuff that is called plocha, which is it's one of those very little known foodstuffs that the area is completely rich with, which has been completely ignored by the new settlers over the last 200 years. So Mole insists that that knowledge persists. And this plant, which grows in shallow water of billabongs, is a tuber that's growing under mud, underwater.
Oh.
You're not going to find it if you don't know.
If you don't know.
Where to look.
Yeah.
And
which means you have to know it exists.
That's right. Mole and another artist called Mulka have championed the idea of getting these plants better known by breaking them out of the sacred representation and painting them. This is a naturalistic representation of that plant, but she's found her own design for it,
right?
Her own pattern for it.
Yeah.
But there's no one who can tell her not to paint that because it's painted in a non-sacred form. Everyone has a right to represent their identity. There's no distinction between who is an artist and who isn't.
So here it won't be, this person is a much better artist than this person. That doesn't exist.
It's impossible, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's what I get.
Yeah.
So anyone can do any art as long as they
following the discipline.
Yeah,
following the discipline.
Exactly. The center is actually divided into two parts that work hand in hand with each other. The Art Center, where we just were, and the Mulka Project, where we're now headed. This is Joseph Brady. Around 10 years ago, when the Yolngu started exploring the idea of blending technology with their cultural traditions, they decided to hire a technology guru to help guide them. After bringing him up to Yirrkala to check things out, Joseph packed up his young family in Melbourne and made the 2,000-mile move to join the Mulka Project as the center's program and technical director. And he's been living and working here ever since.
This is the Mulka Project. It means to hold and to protect. Essentially, it's an archive. All the old material, all the photos, video, audio recordings, back to 1920s to like yesterday. Filmmakers, audio engineers, translators, with cultural directors that look after the content here. Mulka functions like a production centre because half of the responsibility that we have is to be producing new material that is reflecting what the current generations are doing. You know, we've got 3 bosses. One of them is the old people of today. The other are the old people of the past who did a whole bunch of recording that we need to go and find out in the world and bring back. And our other bosses are the old people who haven't become old people yet.
One of the main goals is to serve as, like you said, an archive, a cultural sort of archive. Is that an all right way of putting it?
That is the foundation of everything we do here.
That
is based on that material.
Yeah.
And those old films that we go out into the world and we shake down in museums and libraries and universities across the world who've sent people here. You track the paths of anthropologists, and you find amazing caches of knowledge were given to anthropologists who sometimes really just scratched the surface of what they had. And then when you bring them back here to people who understand the language, who understand the context, their messages. Mulka is a manifestation of that. It's bringing these pieces back to the people who they were intended to be delivered to. Having the art centre here, having Mulka here, that blur between art and digital media happened, you know, I think it was Wooken who very much pushed it in the beginning with a piece he did called Nina Namaganama, which was sit, look and listen, where he got five or six slices of bungo dance footage from the archives over the generations and spliced it together into a single work. You know, that sort of crossover into the digital art world happened, and because these guys have got all these skills and learning new tricks and new ways of editing and documenting, those skills can be applied into new forms of media and art. Because Yolngu have such a strong foundation in their identity and who they are, they can push boundaries and still maintain that identity.
And that brings us back to Arian Pearson and his day job. In addition to being a longtime ranger in the Outback here, he's also a musician and composer, at one time playing in a band that toured all over Australia and California. He's also the manager of the Mulka recording studios.
Yeah, so it's not like any other record label. It's very spontaneous. People come and see me and say, oh, let's make a song, and I'm on the spot. It's very flowing and spontaneous music, so it's pretty amazing, really. There are some artists that I work with who have their own songs.
So they come in with written or something in their head.
They have something to bring to the studio. And then I just work with them in developing and recording them. So I think that's the foundation of, you know, Yolngu song lines as well. So I really think we keep that strong through music, but contemporary music also being able to mix both sort of cultures and mix music together. It's quite a powerful thing to be able to do that. I think it's really important that Yolngu have a chance to express themselves through creative arts, but through technology and utilizing technology as well.
We all need to listen. Treaty in this country, there's nothing better. Make ways of change, this is to remember. You know, my mantras with the ocean. Come on, kicking back.
Especially moving into the future, you know, like you know, uniting contemporary creative technology with this 60,000-year-old culture.
Which brings us to Yirrkala Yunupingu, one of the big up-and-coming musicians coming out of Yirrkala.
Yolngu people living as one nation, sharing their dreams all around the world. You'll never know if you'll never go. This is a place that we are free. Oh, sweet Arnhem Land, sweet Arnhem Land, sweet Arnhem. Oh.
And we got to meet up with him in the recording studio here.
Rama Galangare, Waro Jabana, Reba Jabana Jarobe, Korongalana, Waro Jabana, Rede Dwalinya Jabana, Rama Galangare.
Yirrkala, that was so Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for letting us get in there.
You're more welcome.
How long you been doing this?
3 years, yeah.
And they're all songs from your place, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that go back forever.
Yes.
Do we have anything else we could listen to?
Yeah, one of his tracks. This one here. It's one of his other tracks he did.
This is you?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh my God, yeah. That's you as well? Wow. When did you do this?
This one, that's the first track that started maybe 2017. Yeah.
This is really awesome. Yeah, I got little goosebumps there. All right, that's good. Yeah. Holy cow. Arian and Yirrkala took me deep into a remote part of their homeland so I could see some of the wide open expanses of wilderness up here, and also to experience a couple favorite local customs, hunting for mud mussels and kingfish. So we're just kind of heading into these mangrove salt flats?
Yeah, it's sort of like a tidal mangrove flat. It sort of backs onto a creek, and then the water flows up into the mangrove flats.
And then we go and look for mud mussels, right?
That's right, yeah.
Oh, that's great. So you find them with your feet.
You can, yeah.
Yeah. Mud mussel. That's cool.
Yeah, they're really tasty too.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the fire.
You just throw them on the fire and they cook up. What makes, how many do you kind of want?
10 or 20.
Yeah, that's a good catch.
Yeah, that's a good number.
Finally got 4 so far. 3rd degree burns on my neck, but 4 mud mussels. Oh, hey, 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 hey. 5 mud mussels. How many do you think you got?
It's probably like 40 or 50 there.
Got our barbecue wood. And now we're off to a favorite fishing and picnic spot of Arian's. Kingfish run by here mainly twice a year on their migration route, south in the summer and north in the winter, making it a rare catch that Yirrkala was hoping to spot and land. But as fishing goes all around the world, sometimes the fish just aren't there. While we're waiting to find a kingfish, do you mind showing me this?
Yeah.
How to do this?
Yeah.
I'd love to learn. That would be awesome.
See it?
Yeah? You want me to take it?
Yeah.
All right. And then if you're... See, I already broke it. All right, so it's in on there. Here.
Yeah.
With a little space between it. And then down here.
No. Turn around.
Ah! Oh, I took it out again. Up like that?
Yeah. And aim it straight.
Okay. Aim it straight.
Yeah.
And then do I let go here, right?
Yeah, let go, yeah.
Can I do it?
Yeah.
Well,
go for it.
Oh, hey, that was cool though. Yeah. We were both admittedly a little disappointed not to see any kingfish. But you know what'll help? Mud mussels.
Yeah.
Should go eat some mud mussels, right?
That's right.
I think they're ready. Let's go do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just wait for them to open up.
So these are sort of a little bit of delicacy, you know, like everyone really loves these. One of the most tasty mussels we get around here.
Time for my first mud mussel. Salty but rich, buttery, spectacular, spectacular. And ultimately, this is what it's all about. The epic drive through the bush, along the beach, into the mangroves and out onto this panoramic view. It's all about the land and the Yolngu's 60,000-year connection with it. The paintings, the songs, the dances, the ceremonies that all describe what to catch in this bay and the next one over, and each one after that. That educates you on the things you can find on the paths in the mangroves if you just know what to look for. That serve as a record for who lived under the branches of endless eucalyptus trees in this stretch of forest and the next. All of that information is getting recorded in Yolngu art in all of its various forms for the next generations to learn from.
Oh, sweet Arnhem Land, sweet Arnhem Land, sweet Arnhem. Oh, sweet Arnhem Land, sweet Arnhem Land, sweet Arnhem. Oh,
And ultimately, this is what it's all about. The epic drive through the bush, along the beach, into the mangroves and out onto this panoramic view. It's all about the land and the Yolngu's 60,000-year connection with it. The paintings, the songs, the dances, the ceremonies that all describe what to catch in this bay and the next one over, and each one after that. That educates you on the things you can find on the paths in the mangroves if you just know what to look for. That serve as a record for who lived under the branches of endless eucalyptus trees in this stretch of forest and the next. All of that information is getting recorded in Yolngu art in all of its various forms for the next generations to learn from. And ultimately, this is what it's all about. The epic drive through the bush, along the beach, into the mangroves and out onto this panoramic view. It's all about the land and the Yolngu's 60,000-year connection with it. The paintings, the songs, the dances, the ceremonies that all describe what to catch in this bay and the next one over, and each one after that. That educates you on the things you can find on the paths in the mangroves if you just know what to look for. That serve as a record for who lived under the branches of endless eucalyptus trees in this stretch of forest and the next. All of that information is getting recorded in Yolngu art in all of its various forms for the next generations to learn from.
Oh, sweet Arnhem Land, sweet Arnhem Land. Sweet Arnhem, oh, sweet Arnhem Land, sweet Arnhem Land, sweet Arnhem, oh, sweet Arnhem Land.
And ultimately, this is what it's all about. The epic drive through the bush, along the beach, into the mangroves and out onto this panoramic view. It's all about the land and the Yolngu's 60,000-year connection with it. The paintings, the songs, the dances, the ceremonies that all describe what to catch in this bay and the next one over, and each one after that. that educate you on the things you can find on the paths in the mangroves if you just know what to look for, that serve as a record for who lived under the branches of endless eucalyptus trees in this stretch of forest and the next. All of that information is getting recorded in Yolngu art in all of its various forms for the next generations to learn from.
Oh, sweet Arnhem Land, sweet Arnhem Land, sweet Arnhem. Oh, sweet Arnhem Land, sweet Arnhem Land, sweet Arnhem. Oh, sweet Arnhem Land.
Gustavus Adolphus College equips students to lead purposeful lives and act on the great challenges of our time. Gustavus, make your life count.
Over 1 billion people live with preventable blindness.
See International partners with volunteer doctors to provide sight-restoring surgeries in underserved communities around the world.
This organization is united in one mission: to restore sight to the blind.
They purify the air I breathe and the water I drink, keep me and the planet cool, and give me a career I love. Trees, when we take care of them, they take care of us.
We all seek different in our own ways because different reflects who you are, who you want to be. The Northern Territory, different in every sense.